Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to ACS Sneakers. My name is Aiden. On today's video, we are taking a look at what could turn out to be the craziest Air Jordan 5 colourway of all time. But before we get into that, I just want to say a huge thank you to my returning viewers. Thank you as always for supporting me and the channel. And to any new viewers, welcome to the channel. We do release brand new sneaker content each and every week. So do make sure you do hit that subscribe button, have that bell notification switched on so you never miss a video just like this. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the intro. Initially releasing on November 7th for a retail price of £165, today we are going to be taking a look at the Air Jordan 5 in the What the colourway. Before we get into that, I just want to explain to anyone that doesn't already know, the What the series has actually become one of the flagship statement pieces for Nike in recent years. Now, initially started out with skateboard culture before moving over to basketball sneakers, and effectively it's just a combination of different colourways, themes and inspiration taken from a specific shoe. Now, you might be sat there thinking that that's just the exact same concept as what they did with the Jordan 5 Top 3, and whilst I can completely appreciate why you'd think that, it is a slightly different concept which we will get into within the video itself. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the unboxing. And here we go guys, I now have the box in hand, and as you can see we just get a standard Air Jordan 5 box with the black finish on the top with the red Jumpman branding in the centre. Now I didn't know until recently, but we actually get a Jumpman branding on the side as well. Apparently that's to signify that this isn't an OG colourway, which I do think is quite an interesting touch. Taking a quick look now at the label, which reads Air Jordan 5 Retro SE, which stands for Special Edition, in the Varsity Maize and Solar Orange colourway. Now, this is what the label will look like for anyone who's interested. And now let's go ahead and get into the rest of my review. And kicking us off with the left shoe, which, spoiler alert, happens to be my preferred shoe of the two. Starting out with the upper, we have this red furry suede upper taken directly from the Raging Bull 5s that initially released in 2009. Now, the Raging Bull 5 happens to be my favourite colourway on the Jordan 5 model of all time, so it's pretty easy to understand why it's my favourite colourway. Now, as far as the actual materials go, I think Jordan Brand knocked this out of the park. I think this is absolutely incredible. Just in terms of how it looks, how it feels, and even how it smells, I think it's just incredible, to be completely honest. I definitely argue that this is probably the best suede that I've had on any Jordan sneaker released this year. Now, just in terms of the actual red flags that I've got from this shoe already, I've heard a lot of people saying that the actual dye within the suede could potentially bleed when it's wet. It wasn't a big enough issue for me to not buy the shoe, but it is definitely something that myself and whoever owns the shoe should be looking out for. And as we now move further back the upper of the shoe itself, here we have this yellow detailing towards the back portion, which has actually been taken from the Shanghai 5s that released in 2013. If we now move down to the midsole, here we have a primarily black midsole with the grey shark teeth detailing. Now, this has actually been taken from the Kai 54s that released in 2011. Also taken from the Kai 54s, here we have this neon green outsole with the hints of black on the Jumpman. Now, personally, I do think that this actually contrasts the upper of the shoe really well, and I really do like that actual outsole detailing. I'm a little bit gutted that it doesn't actually glow in the dark. You'd think it would with the actual colour, but unfortunately this shoe doesn't glow in the dark. If we now move up to the laces on the shoe, here we have a complete set of flat black laces. Now, the laces do sit atop a mesh base, very similar to the panels on both the lateral and medial sides. As we move up the laces to the tongue, here we have a silver reflective 3M tongue that actually has been taken from the Kai 54 once again. So here we have this green Jumpman in the centre with the same green detailing on the reverse of the tongue with the Air Jordan branding upside down. And now moving over to the sock line of the shoe, this has been taken directly from the bel-air colourway that actually released in 2013. Now, I've heard a lot of people saying that the bel-air has only been used on this particular shoe because of the fact that we've just had the alternate bel-air 5s and they're just wanting to use leftover or spare parts from that shoe. Now, it completely makes sense if that is the case because of Nike's new sustainable approach, but to be honest, I actually think that it actually works really well with the tongue and with the upper. I think altogether they actually complement each other extremely well, and I've absolutely got no complaints. I think this shoe looks absolutely incredible in hand, and I think it definitely is the better of the two shoes in my opinion. And in terms of sizing, personally, I would recommend that you do go true to size. I always go true to size whenever I do pick up a Jordan 5 model, as I do feel like that's the best reflection on me. If you do have a chance to try out the shoe before buying, I would highly recommend you do so, just so you can understand the best fit for you. If you guys haven't already, please go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you never miss a video. Let's get back into it. And now moving over to the right shoe. For anyone that doesn't already know, this shoe does actually take inspiration from the Air Jordan 5 Tokyo that initially released as a Japanese exclusive in 2011. Now, the Tokyo colorway was released to celebrate the very first Jordan 23 store in that region, and to be honest, I do see a lot of people going for this colorway just because this is probably the closest I and a lot of you guys are going to get to that Tokyo colorway. Now, as you can see, the uppers are primarily created using this bright yellow nubuck material. Now, a lot of people aren't really happy about the fact that one shoe is nubuck and the other is suede, but to be honest, for me, I actually think it adds to the shoe's individuality, and it's something that I'm actually a big fan of. Like what we said about the overall quality of the suede, the overall quality of nubuck is very good. It looks very good in hand. It feels really soft. And, you know, it's absolutely fine in my opinion. If you don't like it, that's absolutely fine. Don't buy the shoe. But I definitely think it does work really well. If we now move further back the shoe, we have the grey panel on the lateral and medial side, also taken from the Tokyo 5s, as well as these grey eyelets. And as we now move further back the upper, we have the 23 detailing in Japanese, like what you can see on the Tokyo 5 colourway once again. And now moving down to the midsole, here we have a primarily purple midsole with the blue shark teeth and neon detailing taken directly from the bel-air colourway. Now, this kind of ties into what I was saying earlier about the fact that it looks like they was using leftover pieces from the alternate bel-air 5s, because across the two shoes, this is the only colourway that's featured on both, so it actually does make sense that they are just using leftover scrap pieces. If we switch to the outsole on the shoe, we do have a primarily iced out outsole with hints of neon green. And now moving back up the shoe once again, here we have a complete set of flat black laces. Now, the laces do sit atop a grey mesh base, also taken from the Tokyo 5s, and as we now move up to the tongue on the shoe, this has actually been taken from the Olive 5s that released in 2006. Here we have a 3M silver reflective tongue with the orange Jumpman in the centre, with the orange detailing on the reverse of the tongue as well, with the Air Jordan branding upside down as you can expect. Moving on to the sock liner on this shoe, which I did also think was from the Olive 5, but it actually turns out to be from the Laser 5s that released in 2007. I didn't actually know until I started to do some research into the Laser 5s, but the actual sock liner of the shoe does actually incorporate into the pattern other Jordan models like the Jordan 11. I think that's a really crazy detail that, to be honest, if you don't actually have the shoe up close, you probably wouldn't notice it. But actually, when you do notice it, I think it's a really incredible feature on this shoe. And now switching over to the insole of the shoe, here we have a primarily black insole with the white Jumpman branding, and this is the same for both shoes. And now swinging over to the heel of both shoes, here we have the black Jumpman. Now you might be sat there wondering why neither of these shoes have the Nike Air on the heel, and the reason for that is neither shoe or any of the colourways used are considered to be OG colourways. Now, it's never been officially confirmed by Jordan Brand or Nike that the Nike Air has been reserved for OG colourways, but when you actually start to break it down and dissect which shoes do and don't feature the Nike Air, you actually start to get a real impression. So, for example, the new Jordan 4 Fire Red scheduled to release later this year, they will feature the Nike Air heel tab. However, the Jordan 4 Metallic Pack, that featured the Jumpman. So, I think it really is going to be the case, and has been the case for quite some time with these releases. There are actually a few shoes that I can think of that actually differ from that. So for instance, we have the Jordan 5 Top 3 and the Jordan 3 Red Cement. Now, those two shoes don't feature the Jumpman and they do feature the Nike Air branding, even though neither are considered to be OG colorways. But I think they're really just slight deviations from it. And generally, you will only see Nike Air on the OG colorways. And just to summarise in terms of my overall opinion on the shoe itself, I do give the Air Jordan 5 in the What the Colourway a very respectable 8.5 out of 10. I'm a huge fan of this shoe in hand. I must say that I actually like the shoe more now that I've seen it in person than what I saw on the images prior to release. I definitely think that it's a really interesting shoe to have in the collection, whether it's a collector's piece, but for me, I can't wait to throw these on feet and let them be the centerpiece for my entire outfit. I'd love to know what you guys think as well, so please go ahead and drop me a comment in the comment section below, and let's go ahead and take a look at the shoe in more detail. Now I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who stuck around to this point in the video. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, hitting that bell notification, and I hope to see you again in the next one. If you guys did enjoy that video, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel here, checking out my latest video right here, and also don't forget to check out our latest playlist right here. It couldn't be easier.